Welcome everyone to the Creative Juice. This is your host A.A. Washington, and today we're going to be coloring Krang from TMNT. This illustration was done by FatTony1444 on IG. Give him a follow on Instagram. So yeah, I really love this illustration right over here, and I'm going to have some fun coloring this picture. So let's get to it. I'm going to speed things up just to kind of show you my process on coloring. The program that I'm using here today is Clip Studio Paint. I predominantly use this on a lot of my works here, and I think it's great for illustrations just like this one. So let's get to it. My whole entire emphasis on this piece is trying to make it look as illustrated as possible, as close to the cartoon rendition. So with that being said, as you can see here, I'm creating what we like to call in the professional world flats. What flats is basically just getting the basic colors down without any kind of detail whatsoever. So just trying to determining what colors you're going to be using here. Just looking back at this piece here, I noticed that there was some things that Fat Tony did to keep this as faithful as possible to those of us who are OGs here, 90s and 80s babies. Shout out to him once again. So I wanted to try to keep as faithful as possible, but try to come up with some new ideas as he did, hence the tattoos and so forth. So in here, I looked at, as my reference picture, I did look at what the cartoon looked like from back in the 1980s, and I just tried to emulate those colors as close as possible, and try to put some new twists on it, as you will see in the finished piece. So I'm wrapping up here on the flats. So big little fun fact here, I was a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan back in the 80s growing up, and still am to this day. My favorite Ninja Turtle of all time, by far, hands down, Leonardo, the leader. I mean, first of all, he's sporting my favorite color, which is blue, and come on, he loves pizza, so, and he's a party dude. Well, that's Michelangelo, right? I think so. But nonetheless, I love those guys. They've been such a big influence here to me growing up, believe it or not. One little fun fact here about myself, when I was a kid, before I had actually the Ninja Turtles in hand as a toy, what I used to do was actually create little paper figurines of them. That's right, little paper figurines. So I used to actually color and draw Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and color them back and front on that piece of paper, and yeah, I used to play with them. I was a weird kid, but hey, it was all before I actually was able to acquire the figures. A couple years ago, NECA, a toy company, just came out with these 1990 renditions of the movie Turtles, and man, I love those things. So shout out to NECA for making those cool toys here. They're so really well received amongst the toy community. So if you're one of the toy collectors here, or even so ever wanted to know what I'm talking about here, take a look at NECA Official on Instagram and on Twitter, I believe. So once my flats are all done, I like to go into the shading process, and my shading process is fairly simple inside this exercise, in which I used a black color, and I just made the opacity, brought it down quite a few notches here, down to like about 40%. So I think that's exactly what I used inside this piece here. So just use just straight up black, and as you can see, it really helps bring out the depth of this piece. And I did the same thing with the lighting too, so all white. Brought it down to about 40% opacity here, and then boom, made a lot of things just pop, if anything. This is just a really easy coloring process, so I kept it very simple here. And one key thing, if I failed to mention here, create layers. One of the first things that I learned about illustrations here is creating layers. So this is a simple 3 or 4 layers here with the lighting, shading, and in the background. Just kept it simple. But there you have it. Totally forgot to record I didn't realize that my phone was actually was running out of memory at the time, was the glow effects. So all I did, as you can probably just see there, was just airbrush it and change the layer type to add glow. I used lighten, so that's what I did. I used the lighten, not the add glow effect, and I used the airbrush tool to bring out the glow effects in Krang. All done in color on Clip Studio Paint. Big shout out here to Fat Tony 1444. In which if you do like his work, by the way, you once again you can follow him on Instagram, and also he has an Etsy store which is called Big Little Z Shop. He has some very cool merchandise here, so give it a check here. Maybe even buy something if anything. Until then, next time, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time.